ある YouTuber が職業の基線について話を始めます。
Blue-collar workers are second-class citizens. They're despicable, contemptible members of society who should be relegated to the job site or their trailers and not to mingle with civilized folks. If you've worked a blue-collar job, you've probably experienced this bias. I know that in my 22 years of working with my hands, I've certainly experienced this. Whether it's in line at Dunkin' Donuts or going to get lunch, the view of a typical dirty, rude, uneducated construction worker isn't typically a favorable one.
TWICE メンバーのチェヨンに似ていることで YouTube に話題になった数学講師が学生に質問に答えます。
가영 7등급, 나영 1등급? 홍규용님? 아니에요, 여러분. 이게 약간 가영 학생들이 나영 학생들을 심각하게 무시하는 경향이 있는데 가영 7등급이 나영 본다고 1등급 안 됩니다. 솔직히 얘기해서 가영 7등급은 공부 안 한 거잖아요. 이러면 안 되나요? 전 솔직히 그렇게 생각해요. 노력했으면 3점짜리 다 맞추면 7등급은 아니거든요. 3점짜리 다 맞춰도 5, 6은 가는데 7등급 나왔다는 건 3점짜리 틀렸다는 거지. 안 한 거지. 그렇게 할 거면은 징 용접 배워가지고 저기 호주 가야 돼. 돈 많이 줘.
溶接を表すようなジェスチャーをしながら職業を卑下した彼女の発言は多くのネットユーザーを怒らせ、特に彼女の皮肉な表情と言葉遣いは彼女の職業に対する偏見をはっきりと見せてくれました。そして次の日、
안녕하세요. 수학 강사 주희지입니다. 어제 라이브를 진행하던 도중 댓글에 답변을 하는 과정에서 제가 특정 직업을 언급하여 해당 직업에 종사하고 계신 분들 그리고 라이브 방송을 시청해 주신 분들께 불편함을 드려서 정말 죄송하다는 말씀 드리고 싶습니다.
それでは果たして私たちはこのような偏見から自由になれるんですか？職業に規制があるかないかって韓国と中国では死の交渉という言葉がありました。職業に身分を明確に区分する単語でした。江戸時代でも死の交渉という職業に規制上下の差があったそうです。しかしこの時代に職業の上下関係の差をつけることが必要でしょうか？
Have you ever had to tell someone that they are best suited to a subservient / blue-collar lifestyle because they don't have any semblance of brilliance? Okay, well, I want to take issue with the formulation of that question, although I think it's a perfectly reasonable question. That's Jan Swan. Don't be thinking that a blue-collar lifestyle is necessarily subservient. I mean, first of all, you can be a tradesperson, and that's a really good career choice as far as I'm concerned. It's very, very valuable. I mean, you know, good plumbers are rare, and good carpenters are rare, and good bricklayers are rare, and they're so useful. I mean, I do a lot of renovation work. I've done an awful lot of renovation work on all the places that I've lived in, and I've learned to do a fair bit of construction and automotive body work and all those sorts of things, and I really like doing it. And, you know, blue-collar life is not necessarily subservient at all, because you can be master of your trade's domain and be unbelievably economically useful and productive and creative and independent and autonomous, and so there's nothing necessarily subservient about that. Now, you know, if you're thinking more about let's say life at the low end of a restaurant, but even there, if you're a conscientious person and you're careful and you're awake and you treat the people around you well and you do your job properly, there's also room for advancement in the private sphere. There's no reason to assume whatsoever that merely because you don't have the intellectual horsepower to work well in the domain of rapidly shifting abstractions, that your life has to be of secondary quality or opportunity. I don't see that at all, and there's endless opportunity in the trades, and like in Toronto, for example, there's a chronic shortage of tradespeople, and there's always a shortage of qualified people for every occupation. So if I have to tell someone that they're best suited to a blue-collar lifestyle, I wouldn't feel bad about it. I might say to them, well, look, you know, let's assume you're talking to someone who has an IQ of 100, which is the IQ of the average high school graduate. You might say, well, look, unless you're super conscientious, career in something like law is probably not your best bet, because you're going to be competing with people who have IQs that are like 30 points higher than yours or 25 points higher than yours. And if you really work yourself to death, you might be able to maintain competitiveness in that domain, but you're going to be working at a powerful disadvantage because the people that you're competing with, for example, are going to be way faster than you verbally. You're going to be able to read faster and to reason verbally faster and all of that. And it might be better to pick an ambition that's more in keeping with the quality of your temperament and your intelligence, to put it bluntly, so that you can be, but that doesn't mean that your success has to be limited. And it also doesn't mean that I'm elevating intelligence to a platform of the ultimate moral ideal, because the relationship between intelligence and moral ideal is zero. There's no relationship between them at all. Intelligence is a capacity, let's say, that can be put to ill use just as well as to good use, and there's nothing intrinsically better about smart people. They might be more useful for certain things if they're oriented towards the good, but
ピターソンは IQ という客観的なデータに基づいて説明します。私たちは私たちが持っている IQ に合った仕事を見つけて、そこで熱心に働き、優れた才能を発揮すれば多くのお金を稼ぐことができるというのです。それで無理に弁護士や医者になる必要がないということです。またいい職業を持っているからといって彼らは道徳的により良い人だとは限らないというのです。ですから人がどの分野で仕事をしていることが重要なのではなく、その人がその分野でどれだけ良心的で、どれだけ誠実で、どれだけ一生懸命働くことが重要だと強調します。つまりその職業に応じた心得というものです。